Okay guys, so today we're going to go over history, specifically the history of Guatemala. Make sure you have your social studies notebook and a pen or pencil, and let's get to class. There you are. Sorry guys, I've been running around like crazy. It's been a crazy week, but I'm super excited for today's class because today we are talking about history. Do you know what history is? History is the study of the past. What is the past? It's anything that happened before right now. So, for example, I ate breakfast in the morning. That was the past. Right now, we are in class. That is the present. And later on, I'm going to go to sleep. That is the future. Past, present, and future. But history is the study of the past. What happened before. So in order to understand history, we can use a timeline. Do you know what a timeline is? A timeline is literally a line that organizes information by dates. So, on the one line, you can show the different dates of history that are important. Let's do an example together.
So here's an example of a timeline. This is a timeline of my day. So, the first point in the day is at 6 a.m. when I wake up and get ready. At 7 a.m. I read my Bible. At 7:30 I eat breakfast. At 8 a.m. until 1 p.m. I go to work. At 1 p.m. I eat lunch. From 2 to 6 I work from home. From 6 to 8 I watch a movie. And at 8 o'clock I get ready for bed and go to sleep. Okay, here we are looking at a timeline that is used by many historians. This is the timeline using the birth of Jesus Christ.
Many historians use the birth of Jesus in order to tell time. So everything that happened before Jesus was born is called BC, before Christ. And everything that happened after Jesus was born is called AD,
Anno Domini.
Historians study what happened to understand what is happening now. So, to understand, for example, the country of Guatemala, you should see what happened in the past of the country. You should see the history of the country. Okay. So now we know what history is and what a timeline is. Now let's look at a timeline of some important dates of the history of Guatemala. Are you ready? Good. So this is a timeline that we will be going over this week and next week. This includes important dates in the history of Guatemala. Now, Guatemala has a lot of history and we can't cover it all. But it's important to understand some of these important dates. Got it? Let's go. So the first point on our timeline is the Mayan period. Now, this is actually divided into 3 separate periods: pre-classic, classic, and post-classic. Now, the classic period is when the Mayan Empire was the strongest and it controlled the majority of the country of Guatemala. But before that is the pre-classic. The pre-classic period was when the Mayan Empire was still present, but it wasn't very strong. There were other cultures that also influenced during this time. And the post-classic, after the Mayan Empire was the strongest, is when the Mayan Empire started to lose control of some of its power. Got it? Okay, so the pre-classic period went all the way from 2000 BC to 250 AD. Okay, so from 250 AD to 950 AD was the classic period when the Mayan Empire was the strongest. And from 950 AD all the way to 1500 AD is when it was the post-classic period, when the Mayan Empire started to lose some of its control. Got it? Great. Okay, so our next point in our timeline is from 1524 AD all the way to 1618 AD. Now, this is the time when Spanish conquerors from Spain came to Central America and started taking over. So during this time, there was a lot of wars, but at the end, the Spanish rule did take over the majority of Guatemala. Okay, now we're at our most exciting part on our timeline today, the independence of Guatemala. This is when Guatemala was established as a country. It's a really, really important date. Every year we celebrate this day. Do you remember what it is? I'll give you a second. When do we celebrate the independence of Guatemala? That's right, September 15th. So this happened in 1821 AD. That is when Guatemala became an independent country. Really cool. So what are some ways that we celebrate the independence of Guatemala? Well, I love to go to the feria. I love to eat the yummy food like corn with like lemon and salt, or churros or garnachas, and ride those big rides. So much fun, right? Yeah. Well, this year it's gonna be a little different, right? We're gonna have to celebrate at home, but it's still a super important day and we should still celebrate. Great. So when was it? That's right. September 15th, 1821 is when Guatemala became an independent country. Good job, guys. Okay, so the final point on our timeline we are going to look at today is in 1822 through 1823, when Guatemala formed part of the Provincias Unidas de Centroamérica. This included the other countries in Central America. It was an agreement to be united, to be independent of Mexico. So the countries that formed part of this agreement are the countries of Central America today. Do you remember what they are? There's 7 in total. Let's go through them. We have Guatemala, Belize, El Salvador, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, and Panama. Very good, guys. So those formed what was called the Provincias Unidas de Centroamérica. Again, this lasted from 1822 to 1823. Okay, guys, so today we talked about what history is, what a timeline is, and some important times in the history of Guatemala. I hope you enjoyed the class. Next week, we'll continue to look at those important history dates in Guatemala. All right, love you guys. Have an amazing day. Make sure you do the practice homework and turn in the core on Thursday. Got it? Bye.